When a special forces operative is recruited to take out an Afghan drug dealer, he discovers that profits from the drug world are being split between powerful Afghan families and secret groups in the US. When he meets two victims of sex trafficking, he is convinced that the drug lord is also involved in this illegal trade. In order to prove his theories, he must immerse himself in this criminal underworld where death and danger lurk at every turn, and he must fight to get out alive. So, fun fact, Steven Seagal was hesitant to release Mercenary Absolution because he was convinced that it would inspire the second coming of Jesus Christ. He asked the Pope for his blessing first. The Pope replied by saying it was the dumbest thing he had ever heard. His Holiness obviously hasn't heard me say then that Mercenary Absolution is a decent film for what it is. The film is a vigilante thriller swirling around within a myriad of Illuminati conspiracy theories, because it wouldn't be a Steven Seagal film without that special kind of spice now, wouldn't it? It is satisfyingly brutal, and there is an adamant attempt to give dimension to characters, even though these attempts come off as waffling hyperbole most of the time. I thought Byron Mann put in a well good turn with surprising amounts of charisma, coordination and screen presence. Obviously, Seagal is wooden as ever and does nothing with what the script gives him, which makes Mann's efforts stand out even more. He does a good job, and I found his performance to be a pleasant surprise. Vinnie Jones was Vinnie Jones. Meh. The fight choreography was average, as well as how it was covered, but that means no obnoxious shaky cam or music video editing, which made the action scenes watchable. Seagal's power fantasies of late about being an elite government agent dragged the film down with overbearing and self-aggrandizing dialogue, as well as Seagal's anti-charisma, which just sucks all the atmosphere out of any given scene he is in. Mercenary Absolution is a fun revenge movie in places, but Seagal's needs as a small, insecure man make the film more or less a parody of itself. In this international action thriller, Steven Seagal stars as Harmon, a CIA DEA enforcer investigating Arab terrorists captured in Mexico. With his team, seductive FBI agent Zara and spy drone pilot Sharp, he flies to Istanbul and uncovers a brutal plot. Islamic extremists plan to use Sonora drug smuggling routes to bring deadly weapons and leaders into the US. To prevent an attack on America, Harmon must turn these two savage forces against one another before his time and his luck run out. Contract to Kill is very much business as usual for Steven Seagal, as he plays yet another rogue law enforcer, badly on the hunt for whatever stock bad guys are floating around action cinema at the time. The plot is intriguing enough, with terrorists wanting to use the smuggling routes of Mexican drug cartels, but the execution is beyond terrible, with a screenplay that was so desperate to show off what little research has been done into the subject matter that it had no time left for developing characters or any kind of optimization, as entire 5-minute conversations in Contract to Kill are nothing more than a heated debate between two near unintelligible beings who believe in the exact same conspiracy theories. The action scenes are the worst I have ever seen in a Seagal film, ranging from shaky cam nausea to erratically edited montages of close-ups to mask the sad fact that Seagal just can't go anymore. He can barely even speak now, with his raspy voice suggesting some degree of exhaustion from talking. I would feel sad for him, but those multiple sexual assault allegations clear me in utero of those bad feels. Contract to Kill can't even have the dubious honour of being the worst Seagal film I've seen. That goes to Out for a Kill, and this InfoWars bollocks doesn't even come close to having the comedic appeal of that 2003 disaster piece. This one's just another of several tiresome retreads that will inevitably become more desperate with each passing attempt until Seagal attains some self-awareness and calls it a day. America, 2029. A totalitarian state-secret government organization controls all aspects of life. All enemies of the state are executed by a secret group of assassins who go by a secret codename which is known only by the state and a few others assigned to the same mission. The best of the assassins is a codename Condor, the perfect weapon of choice. However, in his latest assignment, he fails to kill the opposition leader and finds himself on the run from the very same government agency that hired him. What? After weeks of reviewing an esoteric collection of ancient box office duds and lo-fi obscurities, it's refreshing to finally see the kinds of films that made me want to start this whole series off in the first place. Steven Seagal vehicles are a safe bet for me really, because at best I'm going to get an action film with poor acting but an intriguing story, and at worst an incomprehensible dumpster fire top loaded with poor creative decisions with more comedic value than the last 5 Will Ferrell movies combined. The math puts Perfect Weapon at 55% the former and 45% the latter exactly. To the surprise of no one who has seen Seagal's output in the 2010s, one of the world's greatest living leaders according to Vladimir Putin is in this entire film for less than 10 minutes. The majority of the film revolves around a Vin Diesel looking government assassin and his girlfriend trying to evade the clutches of the deepest of deep states, and true to action sci-fi form, the assassin becomes the saviour of a resistance group trying to take the man down. The story is cliché, nonsensical and ridden with plot holes. The one-time enjoyment of The Perfect Weapon will be found in the 90s time-warped art direction, the multicoloured cinematography, the surprisingly bloody violence, and the just not give a fuck attitude of the cast, who all manage to chew bare the scenery through their aimless understatement. This is no different than anything Seagal was making in the late 90s, and there's a chintzy, only slightly pitiable charm to be found in that. The Perfect Weapon is sci-fi action trash served straight with a serving of Steven Seagal's trademark empty-headed pontification. Right, finally it ends. Mercenary Absolution is an uninventive but competently executed revenge thriller. Contract to Kill is nothing more than Seagal playing Spec Ops in real life, and that's just as pathetic as it sounds. And The Perfect Weapon is new image style action-exploitation trash done in 2016 with a quarter of a budget of its 90s peers. What a fucking shit show. Goodbye.